Hello, this is Gambino, and this week we got UFC Miesha Tate versus Ketlen Vieira. Coming off a pretty rough week last week, went 2 for 11, a wonderful 2 for 11, two best wins of my life. Max Holiday really brought it. Did not sweat that technique. I knew he was gonna at least give me the win. It was a tough fight with Yaya Rodriguez, but I mean, we all knew that that time off wasn't going to get him any type of edge over Max Holloway. So pretty easy pick there. But start off from the very bottom of that card, Dunham Jones versus Kennedy. I had Kennedy. I was completely off with that. I mean, I knew Dunham Jones had the strong 1-2 down the pipe, and he used it. The one bet that I did pick that hit was the under 2.5. So if you pick that up, well, that hit the under 2.5. That would have been a good pick. The next fight is Rafael Alvarez versus Mark Diakese. Another one that I got wrong. A lot of people got this wrong. A lot of people picked Diakese, but the under 2.5 was a plus 145, so that would have hit, and that's one that I called out. Also, that the fight ends within the distance was a plus 120, so two bets that hit, and then we got Courtney Casey versus Diana Jojo. I had Courtney Casey, but I didn't have any bets that hit. I had her by split decision. So, well, I knew she was going to win by decision, but for plus money, I wanted her by split decision for +4. What was that? Plus 475, but yeah, that didn't hit. But I still had her in my parlays. And then we had Sean Woodson versus Colin Anglin, and that's another one where the under 2.5 hit. And that was a plus 160, and for it to end inside the distance was a plus 130. That was a good. I had Sean Woodson winning by unanimous decision though, like as far as him by himself. But the 2.5 and the ends, those both hit. And then we had the shocker. Nah, well, I had Cynthia Calvillo, but Jesus, was I wrong about that one. Cynthia did not make it look easier. I thought she would have had the edge considering having fought Andrade and Caitlin, but she's definitely on her decline. She's on her way out. I'm no longer ever betting on Cynthia. I'm just staying away from her fights entirely, or just always fading her. But Andrea Lee, she was a plus 190. If you wanted to hedge her, she was a good bet. Yeah, so was she a plus 190? I think I might have. Not too sure here, but yeah, I don't think I had any bets hit on that one. Joe Alvarez versus Tiago Moises. The under 2.5 that hit, that was a plus 150. The Yadown Song versus Julio Arce, the under 2.5 that hit, that was a plus 175. The fight to end within the distance was a plus 160. So those were two that hit. But I had Julio Arce, so my pick didn't hit. But those two bets hit right there. And then we had Chaos Williams versus Miguel Baiza. I had Miguel Baiza, and he was on his way to winning that decision. So he was about to hit that plus 225, but Freaking Chaos Williams and knocks him out, and he was also a plus 200. So if you were to hedge with that inside the distance for Chaos, that would have been a plus 200, and that hit. Felicia Spencer, I was saying I was liking Leah out in the open space. Felicia Spencer didn't let that happen. Got all up her like Raquel Pennington. Didn't let her breathe. Beat her up in the clinch up against the fence, and I mean eventually got the finish. Like I said, if Felicia Spencer wants to win this fight, she should have beat her within the distance a lot sooner. Really, Felicia Spencer is not good. And she got it done though, with like 30 seconds left. So good job for her for that one. And that was a plus 175 for her to win inside the distance. Everybody thought she was going to take it to the judges, but she didn't let it happen. I'm glad she did it. And I had Leah Letson on that one, so my pick was wrong, but that hedge bet, those are the ones I try looking for, which is why I take my chances with some of these underdogs, because I do try to look for all like really good hedges as well. Ben Roswell versus Marcos Rodrigo de Lima. I mean, geez. Yeah, I just got this one completely wrong. I had no bets hit on that one. And then Max Holloway versus Yaya Rodriguez. I mean, I had the pick right, but all my bets as far as prop bets for that bout alone, none of my bets hit, because I had the under 4.5 and then the under 3.5, and the fight went the distance. I really thought Max Holloway was going to pull this through, but it's fine. He got the win, and it's always good to see Max win. All right, well, that was last week, and let's move on to this week's card. We got. Oh, everybody knows who that is. Look at that smile. That's Joanne. No longer call her Wood. Jojo. All right. Let's go to the official event page here. UFC. Vieira versus Tate. Not Miesha versus Ketlen, but instead Ketlen versus Miesha. It's pretty interesting. I feel like Ketlen looked pretty. She looked in shape compared to her last fight against Unitskaya, who I believe she came in overweight for that fight. She looked not explosive like she does in. Well, we'll get to that fight. But yeah, not as explosive as she does in a lot of other fights. But we'll start from the bottom. Juana Pinheiro versus Sam Hughes. I'm just gonna read right off of my notes and start with Luana. She likes to keep the distance, moves backwards, and then counters strong one punch. I mean, you see that immediately off in her fight against Randa Marcos. She's very aggressive, loves them judo throws, explosive. I believe she's between the two. She's going to be the more explosive athlete here. Will brawl and slug. And as far as the way that fight ended with Randa Marcos, I can't decide whether that was a smart move. I mean, she was already winning. She got the W. She goes home. I mean, she could tough it out and please us, I guess. But I kind of see no reason for it. So it makes me feel as minus 420 heavy favorite. That is an incredibly heavy favorite. She is a more talented athlete here. She's a more aggressive fighter here. It's just really what separates her and Sam Hughes right now at this very moment is the gas tank. Nobody knows, at least I don't know, how good of a gas tank Luana has, and if if anything, Sam Hughes has an incredible gas tank. Known as being a track and field athlete, cross country athlete of some sort. Um, she's known to be able to go the distance. Has had 5 round fights under her belt. Um, was choked out by Vanessa Demolopoulos in the 4th round by inverted triangle. Um, so Sam Hughes does have her good qualities here, but overall, Luana is the brighter prospect here. She is Sam Hughes potentially was only signed due to COVID and the need of fighters, and Luana's coming in after a fight in the Contender Series that she won. So she proved her worth. She didn't get signed. She might have been given an easy fighter, you know. And then she came. She like I said, she got her win from Randa Marcos. A fight that she was doing. She was on top. You know, she had just flipped Randa Marcos for like the 11th time. Ended up on top, and then Marcos decided to kick her. So I mean, she won her fight in the Contender Series. I understand she's 8-6, but still, a win's a win. Sam Hughes, she can't really say the same. Haven't been 0-2 in the UFC, and I understand it's been against tough athletes here, but I think them them Vanessa, I think Vanessa gets beat by Luana. Damn, that does not look natural. So I'm gonna go with Luana here. As far as Sam Hughes, she's fought UFC veterans. Will have the pressure of this potentially being her last fight. I think she's lost 2. This could be 3 in a row. It's not gonna look good. So we could be seeing some cuts here. This could be the first of many on this card alone that could be getting cut. And so she's gonna have that pressure on her while Luana's is going in thinking, "Hey, I was doing good in my last fight. People may think I'm Aljamain Sterling here. I'm about to show everybody that's not the case." She's Sam Hughes is orthodox, is susceptible to the clinch, and by that to the clinch trip. Out grappled by a striker in Luma Lupumi. Doesn't use the cage to get up. She does have I do like her jab. She like steps into the pocket and jabs. She like kind of like jumps in there. Does punch down the middle. She grinds her opponent, and that's her gas tank is gonna be her. It's gonna be her biggest weapon here, and those punches down the middle. So when Luana tries to get in the pocket to cut the distance with Sam Hughes, she's gonna have those shots down the middle. But I think Luana's just gonna be a little bit too much for Sam Hughes, overwhelm her, kind of like Tisha, and so I think Luana could be a good parlay pillar, but just to bet this fight alone, I think the under 2.5 is pretty nice. I think Luana could get a finish here, and that's a plus 100. But because I think Yeah, there could be a finish, but the fight goes the distance is a -105, so that's also both of those are pretty good there. So whichever one, really, because if Luana gets the finish, it's probably going to be in between the first 2 rounds, and then if not, then well, yeah, then it goes the distance. I think it's just kind of a sloppy third round. Maybe even Sam Hughes has a really good third round, but it's just not going to be enough unless she puts Luana out. On to the next fight. I'm sorry, y'all. I probably should be moving this around a little more, but I'm looking at my notes. So here we go on to the next fight. Shailene Nurambik versus Sean Soriano. And this fight is I'm having a hard time with this fight. It's probably I'm making it harder than I should be, but Sean Soriano hasn't won a fight in the UFC. I understand that Nurambik hasn't either, but he hasn't had as many opportunities as Sean Soriano. So it really makes this a hard fight for me to pick a winner. Considering Sean Soriano has a hole when it comes to grappling. He has a hole. All right, well, as far as starting off with Northern Beak here, number 180 in the world, born in 1994. Shit, looks like I'm older than the guy. Joshua Coulibaly is pretty good. There's a difference between Joshua Coulibaly and Sean Soriano. Coulibaly has pretty good takedown defense. I will say that I feel like Soriano has faced the better opponents, so that is making me lean a little bit towards him. I'm not this that, yeah, but it's still hard. That what is that? What was it? -200? -200 for Soriano. It's just kind of nuts. But I see. I'll tell you this much. She wants to put the pressure. But in that first round against Giagos, it was pretty similar to how Northern Beak likes to fight. I would say that much. Go for that body clench, put him up against the cage kind of style. Try to work his way towards the back. Northern Beak won that first round against Joshua Coulibaly doing that. But I think where Soriano is gonna have some successes with the output. So I mean, Jordan Beak, he's definitely wants to wrestle. He's relentless with the takedowns. At least in the very first round, the first round and a half, he's pretty relentless with the takedowns. But he's gonna have a hard time cutting the distance. He doesn't really have many kicks. He's 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 a slight boxer wrestler type, but really it's more like an overhand right boxer. He does wrestler. He doesn't really have like a nasty left hook or anything. He does have a lot of movement with his body. He's not necessarily always standing right in front of you. His head is there to be hit though. Even though he does move his feet, his head is there. He's got lazy defense with his hands down. He's open to the leg kick. His offense is is minimal in open space. Doesn't really have much to do when he's out in the open. He's got strong hooks. He dips his head back when you make him step back. That's his form of striking defense. He dips his head back instead of trying to dip or step to the side. He can get picked apart from the outside. His cardio is decent at best. Not like his takedown offense goes down as he gets tired, but he'll be in there to the very end. If I were to bet Northern Beak, I'd bet him by decision or just straight up. Straight up if you're not a degenerate, but by decision if you're looking for some more action. So I don't think he gets the finish on Soriano, which is why I'm gonna pick Soriano here. I just don't think Northern Beak's gonna be able to choke him out like everybody thinks. So I think Soriano gets back up. He's gonna be the one putting more of the output out there. I think Northern Beak is gonna get sloppy with his takedowns, and then Soriano wins this by decision. And I believe I like that round 3 or by decision. And I believe that's a plus 175. And then by decision, he's a plus 125. So I'm going with 2 heavy favorites right off the bat. But yeah, Northern Beak definitely worries me, considering he's gonna want to wrestle, and that's definitely Soriano's biggest hole. And if you look at all of his fights, he's been taken down a buttload in the UFC. He's gotten taken down every single one of his fights, and he's lost every single one of his fights. But see, 1 submission, 7 submissions, 4 submissions, 1 submission. I think that's what's going to be the difference here. I think Shailin will definitely go for the takedown. But Soriano will be able to eventually fight him off and stay away from any chokes. As Shailin's only choked out low-level opponents. All right. As far as the hedge, yeah, straight up Northern Beak. That's really. But yeah, I think Soriano wins by decision. Next on the card, we got Cody Durden versus. Hold on, let me get a better look at this. Cody Durden versus Odie. See, I've seen this spelled in different ways. See down here, it's Odichi Lang, I believe. Odichi Lang versus Cody Durden. Start off with Cody Durden. Cody Durden looks for the single legs. He jabs into the single leg. Looks to Looks to take the back when the opponent attempts to get up. Goes for subs, not over position. Doesn't want to strike at all. He doesn't want to strike at all. Orthodox, hands down defense. Slow, not very technical, but wants to fight from outside and clinch up in the pocket for takedowns. His takedown defense gets worse as the rounds progress. His overall defense gets worse as the rounds progress. And to me, he just kind of seems like he doesn't belong in the UFC. As far as Richie Lang, I mean, he had a pretty good showing against Jeff Molina. When his stock went up instead of down. I haven't seen anything from Cody to make me believe his stock he should have any type of hype. Richie Lang, he'll put the pressure. He's got an overhand right, a strong two. Has been the champion in another organization. Throw bombs against the fence, more aggressive. He's got he'll use combos to cut the distance. He brings the fight. He's not here to play around, point his opponent. He's got good timing. He's got a good left hook. So yeah, I'm liking Orichi Hang here. He's got a good pace. He's got good cardio. He's pretty relentless. But he can get a little ego drunk. So, if he gets hit, he wants to go back and get that hit right back off. But I like Orichi Lang here at a plus 135. Fight doesn't go the distance is a plus 140. I think if you think anybody it's gonna get taken out, I think you're better off just going. Fight doesn't go the distance plus 140. And I like Orichi Lang here at a plus 135. I want to say he finishes Cody. I'd like to say that. I don't know though. Cody Durden looks like he's got a big head. Take some good punches. 11-3. I'm gonna go with him by decision. I think. So, what are you trying? By decision at a plus 225. On to the next fight. Let's see what we got next. Kind of was all over the place here. So, Terrence McKinney versus Ferris another very difficult fight. I think this Soriano and Northern Big fight is harder than it appears, considering the hole in Soriano's game. And I believe his McKinney fight, Ferris fight's going to be pretty hard because McKinney is a really good wrestler. And Malarkey had some pretty good success against Well, I'm gonna start off with Terrence McKinney. Terrence McKinney is very aggressive. He uses his kicks and knees in the clinch. High pace, wild punches in the pocket. He's got terrible defense. Got terrible defense, no defense. He's got good wrestling as far as striking. His hands are down. Good wrestling, scrambles, strong ground and pound. Will pull guard and then will pull guard, elevate his opponent, flip him over, and then try to take top control. Not the best sub defense has been subbed. Not a lot of technique, uses more natural power. I mean, there is technique involved, but the man is just tossing people around. Understands he's most likely the stronger between the two. He's a southpaw, keeps his hands down, and he will have the wrestling edge here. He's a wrestler with wild, powerful strikes. Sometimes his takedown shots can be a little predictable, and you saw that in the Sean Woodson fight. It could have been a lucky knee, or Sean Woodson saw that he was lowering his head, opening his hands, and threw that knee up the middle. And Ferzium is going to have knees. And another thing one thing I didn't like about Terrence McKinney is he's only had about 30 minutes of fight time overall in total in his career. So he's seen a lot in practice, but I mean, how much? I mean, I know you see success in the first round finishes, but how many holes are you seeing within yourself? And now you're here in the big leagues, and you would hope you would hope you don't have to learn, or you don't have much to fix while you're in the big leagues. There's a lot of potential in Terrence. I understand the hype, a lot of power. And then there's Ferzium, another young prospect. He's had 115 minutes of fight time. Something I really like. He's a young vet. He's the younger between the two, I believe. (24) to McKinney's 27. And he's the taller man between the two. Same amount of reach. Not that big of a reach advantage. He will be the more technical fighter. He will be using his feints to make Terrence open up, and he already has his hands down. The jab's going to be open all day. And Zium will spam that left-hand jab, and if you try to cut the distance, bam, he pops you with the two. He's patient, maybe a little too patient, which is why he's had nothing but decisions in the UFC. He does have finishes, but so far in the UFC, it's been nothing but finishes. I mean, decisions. Understands that there is danger. He understands the danger. He understands I'm not stepping in that pocket and trying to brawl with this guy, which could be a good thing or a bad thing in the last round against Luigi. You see that the look of fear in Zium's face. That's something to be worried about if you have Zium in this fight. He invites danger into the pocket so he can counter with a left hook. He counterpoints his fights. He's got a right knee that he can throw up the middle. He does have a high guard. But he's boring. He's definitely boring. He's definitely a boring fighter. Between the two, he will be the boring fighter, as McKinney is the exciting, bringing the violence. But I think that could potentially be his downfall here. I don't think he'll be too weary of his energy. He'll just use up his supply. At least that's my fear. Because, I mean, I had McKinney for so long. But I keep going back and forth. He will back up if you put the pressure on him. Can be held on his back, but is always looking for opportunities to escape. And I think that could play against McKinney there. He doesn't necessarily work on his back. He's not looking for chokes or anything like that, or even to hit. He's just mainly looking for a moment to get up, hip out, escape. He's between the two. He will have the experience. He's the more technical fighter. He's not that aggressive. Or imposing, but he'll be very consistent. And that alone can be scary. Just the consistency. McKinney, maybe he lands a couple punches, but I think Ziem circles out, makes McKinney work to get to him, makes him try to clinch up against the fence. I just don't think he's ever going to let McKinney fulfill what he sees in his mind's eye. So I'm going to go with Ziem with experience, being tough enough, being smart enough, and using his cardio. I think McKinney is going to get takedowns. I think Ziem's going to be able to stop any type of submission. And I think he'll get up, and I think every time he gets up, McKinney will get that much more tired. And then he'll get jabbed up from the outside. He'll try to land his big bombs, use energy, being very explosive, and for Ziem will just stay consistent and be his boring old self. So I got the smile killer. As far as rounds, I got. It's hard because I can kind of see Ziem landing a knee, clenching up, landing a knee, putting McKinney out. He's been knocked out twice. So I like the third round or decision prop bet where that's at plus 215. I like that because I do think it's a late round stoppage. If he does get the stoppage, if not, he wins by decision. So I like that prop. And as far as Terrence McKinney, let me see, what is he inside the distance? He's a plus 125 inside the distance. But let's say maybe you think this fight just goes all 3 rounds. Maybe Terrence just wrestles Ziem 3 rounds, wins by split decision or some. I think you can bet this fight to go the distance. It's a plus 180. Just for him to win by decision is 700. So that's crazy. So, maybe he gets enough takedowns on Ziem. And I just think Ziem's going to be smart enough to not get knocked out. Maybe he gets taken down enough. The plus 125 could work out for y'all, but I like Ziem here. At bet 3 or by decision. 3 or by decision at a plus 215. All right. On to the next. A lot of good fights on this card though. A lot of close fights, which makes them so good. It's hard to bet on, but so they're gonna be good competitive fights to watch. There's gonna be a lot of hugging here, Sprawlin involved. Hopefully, some brawling sprinkled in on this card. I see a lot of hugging involved here. Should call this card the Huggies card. Sponsored by Huggies. Gonna be nothing but hugs. Alright, here we go. Lima Me versus Lupita Godinez. Pretty good women's MMA fight here. Both ladies pretty good with the striking. With Loma being, I believe, a Muay Thai specialist and Lupita being a boxer/wrestler. Loma kind of fought somebody similar to Lupita and Angela Hill. Angela Hill is predominantly a boxer who sprinkles in some wrestling. Lupita's wrestling will be better than Angela Hill's. But Loma is good with the elbows in the clinch, strong kicks from the outside, hips out on any takedowns in open space, accurate, good use of space, cage. So attacks inside the pocket with elbows and knees. And then outside, she just kicks the hell out of you. And if she grapples successfully, that just makes her opponents have to chase. She's ahead in the scorecards, and now you're up against a very technical fighter that's has some takedowns on you, and makes your opponents very desperate, and they just want to cut the distance without any time. She has the ability to scramble to get back up to her feet. She rips the body with kicks. She does have a takedown defense, and I like just betting her straight up at a plus 145. Because Lupita's boxing is good. She is Lupita explosive. She'll have the better boxing between the two, I believe. She's got a counter 1-2. She got a strong 1-2. She walks her opponents down. Her footwork isn't incredible. Not the best footwork, but she's explosive, so she's bouncing in and out. She's got big bombs. She's got a good left hand and a good right hand, but her striking defense isn't the best. It doesn't have any kicks, not really any kicks, and the kicks that she has don't look very good. Nowhere near Luke Boom Me's kicks. She's got a strong left hand, heavy on her lead leg. I like how she cuts her combos a little short when she's beating up her opponent. It's just to kind of, she doesn't get overzealous. She doesn't stay in the pocket too long. She's hitting her punches, her big punches, and then steps out and tries to reassess, make some adjustments. She's got a good left check hook. She's got some good timing on her strikes. And I don't think cardio is going to be an issue. I don't think, even on 10 days notice, I don't think cardio is going to be an issue. But I just think Loma is too technical. I just think she's going to be too technical. Yeah. I like Lupita, but I think Loma's going to be too good, be too fast, and stay on the outside. But Lupita definitely has a good chance. But yeah, I like her straight up, Loma straight up at plus 145. I don't think there's any reason to look for a prop bet here. And we got good odds on her. Yeah, but if Lupita's gonna win, it's gonna be by decision. I don't see her. Let me see. She's a decision machine. So if you had a hedge, you're looking for plus money on her. Her to win by decision is plus 110. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be the best. I just don't see her winning by finish here. The under 2.5 is plus 250. That is a bet I would throw in there just because you never know. Odds like that, you never know. You know, you put $10 on that, win $50. Anybody wins. So under 2.5 plus 250. It's one of the fights on this card I'd suggest maybe looking at that one, potentially hit. But overall, I do think he goes to decision. So I got Loma Luke with me. Straight up plus 145 by decision. Let's see what she's at by decision. I don't think it's that much better. Plus 175. I think it's better. I'll just straight up. Lupita, if you're gonna have better, I guess decision, but I just wouldn't bet her. I think you either bet Loma or you bet that under 2.5, and you hope one of those hits or none of them hit. That's what I would do. Nathan Levy versus Rafa Garcia. Or Nathan Levy. Loopy. We were making some good time here. Rafa Garcia, yeah, here we go. We're halfway through. Trying to make it quick here. So, y'all don't really, whoever is watching this doesn't care if I'm looking at the camera. It's all about the pick, right? So here we go. Rafa Garcia versus Nathan Levy. Rafa Garcia has fought. Let me see. He's fought tough fights against UFC vets. He is slow. He's got a left hook. Can't rock his opponents. He does have submissions. Capable of his own takedowns. He is pretty high paced and does have a imposing pressure. He's got a difficult time fighting backwards. I don't think Levy's gonna have anything as far as the striking to make Rafa step backwards. And he did against Nazaret and Chris Grutzenmacher. And then with the thing with Chris, it was I believe with Chris, what happened was Rafa thought he was gonna knock him out. Chris had just gotten starched by Alexander Hernandez in the first round, and I believe Rafa was just believed he was gonna knock Chris out, and I think Chris had a pretty good first round up until he got gassed. Then he started getting jabbed up, and he started gassing even faster. So, um, he does leave it all in the cage, and he wants to be the bully. You know, that's what he wants to do while he's in the cage. Bullies his opponents. As far as Natan Levy, he's a southpaw. He does throw blind kicks. He, probably because he doesn't mind getting taken down. He wants to wrestle. He grapples at a very high pace. He's open to the 1-2. Usually outworks his opponents. I've seen him get rocked by a close fight that he had with an opponent with a suspect record, Ben Lugo. Um, he lays and prays. He just lays on his opponents, and he's not very aggressive. I didn't see a whole lot of aggression. He moves a lot. He scrambles a lot, but I didn't see a whole lot of damage being done by him. He's got submissions. He's got a cardio edge. This is his biggest competition for sure. He's got solid trips. And, he makes grappling mistakes as well. Sorry, y'all. My writing is terrible. I can't read my own writing. It's sad, really. Half the time I'm not looking down when I'm writing, but I like to be able to like to have it to look at later, to try to read. Yeah, I should start typing a lot of this stuff. Rafa Garcia, though. I got Rafa Garcia here. I mean, if Natan's gonna win, I don't think he chokes out Rafa. I think he wins by decision. So if you do got Natan, I think you pick him by decision at a plus 215. I'm going with Rafa here. I think he gets it done inside the distance. I think he welcomes homeboy into the UFC, same he was, and that was brutally against a tough opponent. So I got Rafa Garcia inside the distance at a plus 300. And then you could also just go, you don't want to pick either one, but you think somebody gets finished, that's a plus 125, which could be, maybe that's the play. You go plus 125 if you think Rafa wins. You don't pick Rafa, you just pick the no. And then if you think Rafa wins. And then you pick Levy if that by decision, plus 215 as a hedge, which is probably what I'm going to do here. Put Rafa in my parlays, and then make a couple bets with no, it doesn't go the distance, and then Levy by a decision as a hedge. Next, we got Tucker Lutz versus Pat Sabatini. Man, I was on Tucker Lutz all week long. All week. But I don't know. The closer I get to recording this, the more I kept going towards Pat Sabatini. But let's put that up real quick. On to the next, right? Tucker Lutz is coming in on Well, not really a short notice. He was supposed to fight last week. Supposed to fight last week on last week's card against Lando Veneta. So he was gonna fight a striker, and Pat Sabatini is, from what I can tell, he seems to be kind of like it's the guy that just fought Ilya Taporia. He's always doing weird eye stuff. Ryan Hall. So this guy might be Ryan Hall here, guys. 11 submissions, 1 KO, TKO, 3 decisions. Pat Sabatini's coming in here to kill. Take his leg with you. And that's what he did with Jamal Emmers. He's got Jamal Emmers' knee hung up in his house. Pat Sabatini is a little monster, man. Pat Sabatini wants to grapple. He doesn't look very comfortable with the striking, I will say that. Like, he does have his own little bombs and all that, but his game plan is he's gonna wrestle with you. That's what he wants to do. He'll be pretty relentless with it. We haven't seen him too much in the UFC yet, considering his last fight wasn't very long. And then his fight against Tristan Connolly, I believe Tristan Connolly is underrated, considering he beat Miesha Vieira and went the distance with Pat Sabatini, but Sabatini dominated him. So that's really what I see. What I see with Pat Sabatini is, which, I mean, it's crazy to say this though. Against Tristan Connolly, he was 1 for 5. So that is a scary stat there. He goes for that double leg. He's happy. He is happy to be boring. He was kind of boring in that Colin fight. He doesn't really ground and pound. Doesn't really beat you up on the ground. He likes that submission. He goes for control time. He's gonna have the cardio so long. Had Tucker Lutz for so long. Then watched a couple fights today, and I do just feel like doesn't have the worst striking. And Tucker Lutz underwhelmed in the Contender Series. Had 2 decision wins. Wrestled a lot. If he wrestles with Sabatini's gonna just choke him out. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Sabatini here with the finish. And that's a plus 185. And it's really, I think, 2 bets you can put Sabatini. I do think he could even win a decision if he doesn't get the unanimous is plus 300. So either one, really. Inside it's plus 330. No, my bad. Plus 185. And unanimous is plus 275. I'm sorry about that. Plus 275. That's super degenerate, though. Pat Sabatini straight up is definitely the play. He's a minus 115. That's what I would go with. No, it doesn't go the distance. Is a plus 115. Under 2.5 is a plus 140. So those are two bets right there that you could go with it, because this is a hard fight. It's a hard fight to pick. I'm going with past 17, but sometimes you got to go with those bets where you're not picking anybody. You just think somebody's going to sleep or something. By decision, past 17. So I think Tucker Lutz wins by decision plus 200. That's a good hedge. If you got past 17, if you're incredibly confident, I think the plus 185 is great. If not, that under 2.5 at plus 140, where you cover both Pat and Tucker, anything can happen. Mostly Pat, and I think that's also a good bet. And on to the next. High quality H2O. Adrian Giannis versus Davey Grant. Minus 310 Adrian Giannis versus a plus 250 Davey Grant. This is a hard fight, especially when you look at these odds. It's crazy because Adrian Giannis had a very bad first round against Randy Costa. So he might be a slow starter, and it seems like Davey Grant he's more of a his that first round. This is a hard fight. I'm gonna start off with Davey Grant here. He's orthodox. Excuse me. He does have a little bit of a bounce. He bounces in. He bounces and switches stance in and out of the pocket. He does use a couple kicks, but nothing incredible. And he seems to have fallen in love with his striking. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that he's a grappler, but he's been choked out. So I think he's been trying to mix in some striking and has had some success with his power. So he's fallen in love with it. He doesn't necessarily have the wrestling to grapple, which I think is why he gets submitted a lot. But he's got a left hook, and just like Glover said, that's just the only takedown you need is your left hook. He steps into the pocket, southpaw, throws bombs. He still seems a little green with the striking. Like he does have those bombs, but they're in some awkward angles, but not a whole lot of variety. He doesn't throw a lot. He doesn't throw out a jab. He doesn't really feel out his opponent. He's just throwing big, so you can make him miss big. His chin is up. By the second round, his chin's all the way up, which is why he got clocked by Marlon Vera. His neck is stiff. His hands are down. Dips his head back. Oh, and I'd say his favorite attack is that right to the body, and then
the left overhand. He's open to low damage strikes, so just little feelers, jabs. You just you know just hit you know hit it and dip. You don't stay in front of him. You don't try to hit him with the big one. Just keep hitting him in the face. Open to calf kicks. He can get outworked through consistent pressure. And he mainly just goes forward, creates angles with his footwork. The fight goes a distance is a plus 150. So both of these guys are tough. I mean, Davey could land the left. Rock Yanez. Who knows? Adrian Yanez, I believe he's going to be the more technical fighter here. He stands his ground in the pocket. He stays right in there, which is scary considering the bombs that Davey Grant has, but which is why I believe Davey Grant might have a good first round. And then it might be similar to the Randy Costa fight where Giannis is going to have to bring it back in the second and third. That's not a good game plan to have. That's not a good that should make you a minus 180, a minus 310 is insane. It feels a bit like the setup as being Adrian Giannis's biggest test and having to overcome such adversity in his last fight. You would think he'd be a lower as far as a favorite. Adrian Giannis. He can get out touched by that left hand. Yeah, he gets touched a lot by the left hand. His right hand hangs low, keeps it low because he wants to send it quick down the middle. He wants to box. His 1-2 down the middle is real good. His takedown defense is pretty good too. So I think that's something. If he makes David Grant into a wrestler, that's a lot of people are talking about. David Grant has got the grappling engine. He might, but I just think he won't be able to use it in this fight. And if he does, he's already losing this fight. Similar to the Shabazian fight where he starts trying to wrestle with Imavov and Imavov puts him out. So if Davey Grant starts grappling, I think it's because striking isn't working. He's got a stiff left hand. He picks his opponent's apart. Consistent pressure, fast 1-2. He himself can get pressured by big strikes, especially in the first round. He's tough, but he's open to that left hand. From what I saw in the Randy Costa was someone similar to not only was Randy Costa physically defeated, but also mentally defeated. Adrian Giannis took Randy Costa's biggest shots, and Adrian Giannis just kept trotting forward, and it just seemed to get faster and hungrier for the win. While Randy Costa wilted. He uses his jab. Slick boxing, good use of jab. I think a lot of this is going to come down to Adrian Giannis' speed, his accuracy, his power that he's got. He's got a solid pace and a good volume, and he's tough. I think those things are going to make it hard for David Grant. I like Davy Grant inside that 1.5. So I think the longer the fight goes, the more reads Adrian Giannis is gonna have. He's gonna start to pick Davy apart. So I like Adrian Giannis to get I believe it's the third round or decision at a plus 175. Adrian Giannis in the third round or by decision, plus 175. Like that. Like that. Because I do think David Grant is tough. He, he'll make Adrian Giannis back up, I believe, in the first round. Maybe even a little bit of the second round. This could be a split decision, I think. Some people might think Davey won the second. And the third round will be Giannis's to take. Somehow Giannis is ranked higher. Even though Davey has beat Martin Day, Jonathan Martinez. He's been in the UFC a little longer and somehow he's ranked lower. Pretty crazy to me. Giannis is 27. This is a good win, though. I do believe that's probably what got him ranked so high. This was a decent win. These two wins are decent. Hell of a wrestler. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Adrian Giannis here. I think his toughness will once again help him in this fight. On to the next, Ronnie Yaya versus Kyung Kang. Making some decent time on this. Oh wait. Davy Grant, Adrian Giannis. What's it say? Say Adrian Giannis, third rounder decision, plus 175. I would like that. I think if you think Giannis wins by decision, I think it's split. And if it's a split, that's a plus 1,100. So do you think we will see blood? And there will be blood on both of these fighters. Fight goes a distance is a plus 150. So, which is where I like that 3 or by decision plus 175 or fight goes a distance at plus 150. David Grant, you gotta bet him inside the distance, right? Shit, go crazy, put him in the first round. So this is probably gonna be his best round at 1.5. So let's see what that under 1.5 is plus 140. Not good enough, but if you feel that confident. Even fight. Start with Ronnie Yaya. Ronnie Yaya sees the submissions quick. He's got tight chokes, blood chokes, so he's not gonna just allow you to tough anything out. He's gonna make you pass out. Doesn't matter how tough you are if you're asleep. You can get out wrestled for dominant positions. doesn't mind losing the position. Because he's dangerous on his back. Will wrestle. He will wrestle. So he's got slow pressure, but non-stop, unbreakable body locks. He can overcommit and puts himself in bad positions, or in a position that allows his opponent to escape or reverse. He seems to get a little exhausted after the second round. Once you gather his arms, if you can just control his arms, it seems like if you gather his arms and hip out, it seems like his grappling is no longer as effective. He wants to mess with your legs. He dives at his opponent's legs, and from there he climbs up their bodies and goes for his submissions. But he's not really going to uh, single leg drag you to the ground. He's very aggressive. But there is a way to avoid his takedowns, as he does seem to slow down after the second. I think the under 2.5 is a plus 115. It's not bad. If you think Ronnie gets a submission here, I think the longer, if the fight goes over 2.5 rounds, Kang has made enough reads to win this fight. Is what I believe. So I mean, Kang is he's got a stiff left jab, has his own level changes. He can wrestle. He's the safer between the two, as Ronnie Yaya is very aggressive, isn't very wise or efficient with his energy. Um, he's got a decent 1-2. A lot of his striking is followed by a takedown. He doesn't have a whole lot of damage on the ground. Goes for control over subs, so he doesn't care much about getting the finish. He's here to win. Plays it safe. He's got a good left hand, a decent output. Not the most damage. He's not putting damaging blows on his opponents. He's good at when he does get taken down. He postures up and crawls towards the fence. Works his way up from there. He seems pretty hard to hold down, so I think he's going to make Ryan Yaya work, get tired. They'll both be exhausted by the end of this fight, but I just think Kang is going to be. He's going to be the longer fighter, so he'll be able to jab him up from the outside, kick him, and when they do grapple, I think he'll be versed enough to be able to compete with Ronnie, and then take a decision. So I like Kang by split decision, and that's plus 800. And I guess, like I said, a good hedge would be under 2.5 plus 115. What is Kyung Ho at? By decision, he is a plus 175, which could definitely get. If you are a degenerate, that split decision is the play plus 800. I think they go at it. I think Ronnie has some success. I think Kyung will grapple and allow Ronnie to have some good moments, but towards the end of the later rounds, we'll see him be the more dominant athlete and pull off a decision win. So I got Kyung Ho Kang, a split decision. On to the next fight. Sean Brady versus Michael Chiesa. It's a crazy fight here. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, wait. My bad. You got Joanne Wood versus Talia Santos. Getting ahead of myself. She's 35 years old. That's who she is. Talia Santos is 28. I mean, this is a. I think both fighters are. Look at that. Look at her. Young, hungry. Just don't know if she's so young and hungry anymore. After that loss to Jennifer Maya, I just don't think she's been given many favors. I think the win to Jessica was a bit of a surprise, but I believe Jessica is now out of the UFC, maybe. She definitely has a lot of losses. I'm not sure why she's still in the UFC. She must have some type of dirt on somebody. Dana White, a legitimate father to your kids. Uh, the legs. She doesn't have a whole lot of head movement. Doesn't have her teeth kicks. When she postures up, she can leave her head, or I mean, her arm open for submissions, like Jennifer Maya got on her. She does work to get off the cage. She doesn't just stay in clench and held up against the cage. She does work to get out of it, and when she gets out, she does throw a high kick to the head. Wants to fight from the outside and elbows when inside the clinch, elbows and knees in the clinch, and stays has a nice little rhythm and bouncer on the outside and kicks, fights long. But the ground game is definitely the hole in her game. I would say grappling in general is the hole in her game. That's where she's not comfortable. She's got a decent stamina in the third round. Her UFC experience would be the edge. She'll grapple probably more than she should. And it seems like at this moment she's being fed to, she's getting fed to prospects, people they think could be a good fight for Valentina, since she wasn't able to get the fight herself. And now that she's on her way out, I believe the UFC is just going to make good use of her name and use her as a gatekeeper. So this is a test for Talia, and it's Joanne Woods. job to test out Talia or keep her out from entering the higher rankings. Talia Santos reminds me of a Joanne Wood, but slower. They both seem to have is it like a Muay Thai background of some sort? But it seems as though Talia she trots a little more, like her feet are in mud, while Joanne Wood has more pip, pip to her step. She's got more pop. She's just more active with with her feet. But Talia, another orthodox fighter, threatens with the subs, can be taken down. She does work the triangle from the back. Likes grappling, will have a grappling edge here. Can get out wrestled. Likes jiu-jitsu, will clinch. Um, she can be held up against the fence, and she fights a grueling, tiring fight, just clenching on her opponent, just heavy pressure. Doesn't let her opponents breathe, really. Slow but steady. She's got a strong left kick and punch, which I really like because she's an orthodox fighter, so her lead leg and arm are are I wouldn't say she's gonna execute anybody with those, but she's whacking you. She's not just peppering you with her left or with her left anything. She's making it be known that you need to take a step back. And that's gonna be I think that might be an issue for Joanne. Joanne Wood wants to stay on the outside but control the distance, but I don't think she'll be able to control the rhythm or distance in this fight. Talia Santos does have a double leg takedown, and she can be pretty explosive with it. Yeah, I have her down as being a similar, but with more power, slower, with better grappling than Joanne Wood. They both kind of like to fight long when they're striking, kicks, good left hook, good two coming down the pipe, but just that Talia is a little slower in everything that she does. But she's the more explosive fighter, if any of that makes sense. It's mainly the footwork, I believe. And just the shake of the shoulders is Talia's like a tank. Just bam, bam. Like, what are you gonna do? She's gonna get in your face. What are you gonna do? Nothing. She's gonna beat you. So I got Talia. I got her winning by unanimous decision. Um, she's known about the fight for about a month, so she got the fight um, 10th, October 8th. She was supposed to fight Alexa Grasso. Like, see what I'm saying, They didn't do her any favors giving her dinner from They didn't do her any favors. Well, that's if she wins these fights, these are huge. These are good wins, but she's not winning these fights. So I think Talia Santos wins here. She's gonna be the younger, more explosive, hungrier fighter here. The odds are insane. Joanne Wood is. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at anybody who picked her to win straight up. Yeah. The under 2.5 is a plus 250. That's another one of the fights that has that. That's a good bet in my opinion. If it's over 200 and you got basically 3 rounds, throw some money on it. Basically, I got. And then what we got next? I pick y'all. I got Tyler. Tyler Santos. Tyler Santos. Michael Chiesa versus Sean Brady. Number 8 versus number 15. Start with Chiesa. Chiesa, the southpaw, wants to clinch. He's light on his feet, will dance around the whole cage. This guy will entertain you with Bruce Buffer. He's here to put on a show. He's gonna scream in Bruce Buffer's face and come with the theatrics, and then he's gonna dance on the cage for you. Dance all around the cage. Not a lot of combos. I believe in his last fight he throws a 1-2 on who does he throw that on to? He ends up losing anyways. Who did he just lose to? Vicente. He hits him with a 1-2. Looks like we got some lag there. Wait for that to clear up. Looks good, looks good. Hits him with a 1-2, and that seemed to be the best 1-2 he's ever thrown. He's a hit and run, hit and go. Get you with the body clinch if he gets inside the pocket. And I haven't been looking this way at all. Sorry. Once on the ground, though, he's got good shoulder pressure, and he's active. He's just constantly moving, transitioning, working for some type of submission. He's got a good pace and good pressure once on the ground, but not so much, not a whole lot of damage. Pretty much no damage at all. He threatens with subs and a couple punches here and there. He gets kind of creative with his aggression, but his aggression, he's aggressive smothering. He's not aggressive damage. He's just there to hug you and smother you and suffocate you. But in his last fight, I kind of thought he showed me he's a chump. He's a sore loser. He Vicente Luque beat him fair and square, and he's out there throwing a fit. Should be worried about the fight over how cool you want to look with Bruce Buffer. So yeah, I didn't like Chiesa for that. So now I'm going on Sean Brady. Talk about Sean Brady. Sean Brady's got a wide base, or he's got really good top control. He stays wide and heavy. He's got good shoulder pressure, which he uses to look for that guillotine that he can get with one arm. It's insane. He uses his lats as another arm to get the pressure on that guillotine. He's definitely position over submission. He likes the left hook, works for dominant positions, patient with his striking as well as his grappling. He's just a patient overall. He's trying to stay efficient with his energy. Seems like a smart fighter. But his striking isn't. But he's not going up against the best striker here. So his striking should be more than enough against Chiesa. He will have this speed advantage as far as how fast it takes for his punch to land. He will have the speed advantage. On the feet, Chiesa will be running all day. He jabs the body. I think he will be kicking the legs to slow down Chiesa, so he's not moving around the whole time. Make Chiesa want to grapple a little bit more than he wants to. And as far as aggressiveness, Sean Brady is aggressive. He's brutally aggressive. He's not here to play around. He's gonna get a decision, but he's gonna lump you up in the process. Um, Just clinching could be a double-edged sword in this fight, considering Chiesa wants to clinch. I think he should probably fight this fight similar to the what's his name? Just fought Carlos Condit, Court McGee. Similar to the Court McGee fight, kind of just stays distance and not grapple or dirty box with Chiesa, that allows them to get into the fight a little more. I think he could TKO Chiesa, but the thing is that when he hits someone with his left hook, which is his favorite punch, and not his strongest punch, he doesn't follow it up with anything. So that's my only issue with that. And he seems to be the hunger between the two to me. He's the hungrier dog, and he fights his game plan. So I'm going to be going with Sean Brady here. I like him to win inside the distance at a plus 150. I think he can make Chiesa quit. I think Chiesa gets frustrated, doesn't like he's using to the young dog, sees his career now heading in the direction he envisioned, and Sean Brady, it just gets easier from there. So I like inside the distance at a plus 150. And I mean, if you don't want to pick anybody, I do think Brady wins inside. So the under 2.5 at minus 105 is a good bet. You cover both fighters, and then it goes the distances is a plus 100. So that'd be the good hedge there. So I don't think Chiesa chokes Brady out. I don't think he knocks Brady out. I think Brady is a lock here. I really do, which is crazy. I mean, the thing Chiesa has is his smothering, how aggressive he is with his smothering. And he puts pace on his opponents with the transitions and scrambling. And Sean Brady's cardio is just not going to be at the level of Chiesa. That's the biggest edge Chiesa has is his cardio here. If he somehow manages to deplete the cardio out of Sean Brady, then he wins. But I think Sean Brady will be the hungrier dog here. I think even if Sean Brady is completely out of gas, he will still find enough heart and will to beat Chiesa for a decision, and that'll be the Hail Mary. But I think he actually wins dominantly. I think he has a dominant win here. And it's either by unanimous or inside the distance. And I like my inside at a plus 150. Go on to the next. So that fight is going to be a lot of sprawling, I believe. And then Brady, he's gonna be the one brawling and putting it on Chiesa. On to the next. We got the main event. Is this also a 5? Oh yeah, oh no, it's 3, but 3 out of 5. Main event: Vieira versus Miesha Tate. 19-7 versus 11-2. The um, Joel Alvarez, I believe he was El Phenom or something else, something like that. Whoa. So Miesha both fighters kind of crazy. It's a little bit of lag here, at least on my end. You guys probably can't see it, but my end. It's slow with the combos. No ability to feint. Wants to grapple. Uses her technique and weight over explosiveness because she don't really have a whole lot of it. She trips from the body clinch. To you like glue. She's looking to ground and pound. She got subs. She does have the ability to get a submission, but uh, she's looking to ground and pound right now. She's looking a little big. Will technically be the more technical fighter, I guess. She'll have the better cardio, and I believe she'll be a little bit more composed, having been in some pretty tight spots in her past, and she does have the better resume. I think if Miesha Tate is going to win, I think she wins by decision. That bet's a plus 180. I personally think Ketlen Vieira is going to win. I understand she didn't have a good showing against Yana Kunitskaya, but I like Ketlen here. She's got good top pressure herself. She sometimes looks like a first rounder bust. she she threatens all types of submissions. She can get a little sloppy, but she's very explosive. She does have a level change. Uh, she will be the brute in this bout. She will be the bully, I believe. She's 5 years younger. Scrambles even if she's in a bad position. Striking is like trot forward, land punches. Um, when you do clinchers, she'll wizard and then hip throw with power. Likes the head and arm choke. Um, I like her to win by decision. She could. I don't think she chokes Miesha out. I don't think she knocks Miesha out. Um, Miesha is tough, even decision at a plus 225. And if you want to get real crazy with it, even maybe a split decision. Yeah, plus 900. You want to get crazy with it, but I think the decision bet is good. Ketlen by decision, plus 225. I think she wins. I mean, straight up is also good money here. She is minus 120. So, yeah. So, let me see. Let's see. Minus 120, Kaylin Vieira. Minus 170, Sean Brady. Seems like I'm going against a lot of people there. 24% got Vieira. Start from the bottom though. From the top, I should say. Sean Brady, right? There we go. Talia Santos. Chung Ho Kang. Adrian Yanez. Pat Sabatini. Rafa Garcia. Loma Lukbunmi. Faris Diem. Orochi Lang. Sean Soriano. And Luana Pinheiro. Luana Pinheiro. Luana Pinheiro. And that'll get you, for those 12 picks, is 57,697 on. $10 to win $5,769 in this. And Orochi Lang. Now, I like both of those. There's a plus 135, plus 145. Like both of those dogs there. And if I had to pick my most confident picks, I had them written down. I had 8 picks that I liked. I like Ketlen, like Sean Brady, like Sean Brady, like Orochi Lang, like Rafa Garcia, like Kyung Ho Kang, like Pat Sabatini, like Luana Pinheiro, and I like Luke Boon Mi. Those 8 right there. Put $10 on those 8, and you win $1,343.26. Caitlin, Brady, Odachi Lang, Rafa Garcia, Kyung Ho Kang, Pat Sabatini, Luana Pinheiro, and Loma Lugundi. I do have both of my dogs in there, so you get rid of those two, and those are all favorites. Let's see what that'll get you actually. Let's get rid of the dogs. You get a 2,000 odd. Still very good. Put $10 to win $225 on Caitlin Vieira, Sean Brady, Rafa Garcia, Kyung Ho Kang, Pat Sabatini, and Luana Pinheiro. So lots of good bets out here. I think this is going to be a good card, and you know, even if we don't get the picks right, the bets could hit. And we're always looking to be right, but we're always looking for that money. That's the ultimate goal there. So this is Champ Focus, Gambino.